Welcome back, guys. So in this video we are going to learn about promises in JavaScript. So what's a promise? Promise is an eventual completion or rejection of an asynchronous object. Asynchronous action. So basically promise is an object which is eventual completion or rejection of an asynchronous operation. So let me explain it in layman terms. So basically promise, you can think of promises just like the one you have in real life. For example, you have a friend, Alex. You ask Alex if he can come to a movie or not, and so he thinks about it. He's planning whether he can go or not. So right now promise is in pending state, and if he decides to go and he calls you and tells you, and yeah, I'm coming, then you can say the promise status is fulfilled. And if for some reason he cancels the plan and he calls you and say, oh sorry, I can't come, then the promise will be in rejected state. So there are three states: pending, fulfilled, and rejected. Pending, when there's some processing going on, some decision is being made, and fulfilled when it's all set and your request has been granted, and rejected when for some reason the promise cannot be fulfilled. And so likewise, you can think of it in computers. For example, you ask a computer to do something, or let's say a calculation or make an API call. So on the server side, it does some processing, so it is in pending state now, and then when it's done, it grants your request and gives you the result. So it is fulfilled now. And if it's not able to do the processing and give you the desired result, then you will say the promise is rejected. So let's look at a very simple example, and starting with the syntax, it starts something like this. So let me create a variable promise, and you have a class called promise. So we will call it using new keyword, and it takes a callback. So I will write callback like this. So it's basically a callback function, right? And this function takes two arguments, resolve and reject, right? And we come down here. So let's say we resolve it simply. Promise fulfilled. And we come down here, we say promise dot then data, so load data, right? So what we'll do is simply create a promise, and we'll say dot then means it will check if promise can be fulfilled or not. So resolve means promise has to be fulfilled, and there's another method called reject. So in that case, promise gets rejected. So it's simple. We're saying promise dot then means yeah, we are requesting for something to be done, and it's taking this callback again, and data is this string that we passed inside this resolve function, and we're simply printing out data on the console, promise fulfilled, right? And now let's suppose we want to do it based on a condition. We will get a value from math.random. Let's say can fulfill math.random greater than 0.5. So math.random generates a number from 0 to 1. So if the number generated is greater than 0.5, then we can do can fulfill resolve, your request has been granted. Otherwise, we can simply do reject, sorry, please try again. Alright, that's pretty much it. So you see this huge error, which seems pretty annoying, right? So it comes when the reject method is called inside this promise, and it cannot fulfill it, means cannot resolve it. so the number generated is less than or equal to 0.5, then it comes inside else statement and rejects the promise. So in that case, we can use this method called .catch, and it will take a callback which takes an argument called error, right? So we can simply print this error on the console, and we'll be rid of this annoying thing. So yeah, request has been granted because this time around the number is greater than equal 0.5. If I run it again, this is fine. It's fine again. Okay, this time around the number generated is less than or equal to 0.5, so it cannot resolve it. It rejects the promise, and we get this string, sorry, please try again, as an error, right? This string will be this error thing here, and this string will be this data inside this then function. So let's suppose we do set timeout, and it runs after 2000 milliseconds, meaning 2 seconds. So I run it. Okay, so while it's running, the promise is in pending state, right? And once it's done, it resolves, and then it either resolves or rejects. So let's also take the example of an API call. Let me take this API called typecode API. I'll copy this thing. So this fetch is a function which returns a promise, right? So it's an inbuilt JavaScript web API. And here we pass this URL, and if everything is fine on the server, we will get the promise fulfilled. We will do data.data.json. I'll explain that in a moment. And here we'll simply do JSON. Okay, so it makes this API call, meaning it asks the server to do something. The server says it's a promise, I will fulfill it. So it returns a data which is not in a good format, so we convert into JSON, which we can see on console, and then we do JSON, and we print out the JSON on the console, right? There's a thing called users. So this time we are fetching a user with an ID of 1. Alright, and here we can do catch. If error occurs, then we will simply print the error, and we won't have to look at that annoying huge object on the console, right? For now, I don't think it's going to give any error, so we can focus on this part. When the promise is fulfilled, then it returns a fulfilled state with this data, and we are processing data using data.json and simply printing it out on the console. So let me recap. Promise is an object which is an eventual completion or rejection of an asynchronous operation. It has 3 states basically: pending, fulfilled, and rejected. So while there's something going on, it's in pending, and if everything is fine, promise is fulfilled. Then if some error occurs, then it's rejected. So that's pretty much it about promises. If you have any issues or doubts, please let me know in the comment section below.